Have you ever wanted to get into property development and specifically converting those unwanted, unloved and unused commercial properties that you see around your town? If, like me, you used to be sat there thinking, I wish I knew how to convert those types of properties, then stay tuned, because in this video, I'm going to give you some actionable top tips on how you can convert some of these buildings yourself. We are in a period where there is a massive housing shortage. So surely common sense would say we should take all those empty commercial buildings and convert them into much needed residential accommodation. And that's exactly what this strategy is all about. So the first thing we need to think about when we're looking at converting these buildings is, what type of buildings do we need to convert? You will have been in your high streets, you'll have been driving around your town or walking around your areas, and you'll have seen banks, shops, offices, cafes, restaurants, doctors, dentists, health clinics, all closed down and empty. And the beauty of those types of buildings is they all have what's known as permitted development rights. That means we can take those buildings, we can convert them into residential accommodation without the need to go through planning permission. Perhaps some of you have tried to get through planning permission yourself. It can be a little bit of a drawn out process. Let's leave that one there. Whereas permitted development, on the other hand, is easy. It's a case of just putting the application form in, telling the councils that we're going to convert these buildings, and then they give us the permission to do so. So at the moment, we have a lot of permitted development rights. But here's something for you. It's only going to get better. Recently, the government announced a whole new set of permitted development rights that we expect will turn up sometime in the next 6 months or so. The government know that one of the only ways we're going to get out of this national housing shortage is to repurpose the buildings we already have. Now, obviously, once we've got our permission, we can convert these buildings. We're not going to be the ones doing the work. I mean, those of you on the camera will be able to see, these are not builders' hands. And that's what this strategy is all about. It's all about leveraging the expertise of others. So we are asking our architects, our planning consultants, our structural engineers, our construction project managers and quantity surveyors to do their job, but just do it for us. Now, of course, when we're looking at buying these commercial buildings, it may well be that some of you are sat there thinking, whoa, hang on a minute, you're talking about buying a big commercial building. Surely, Dan, that costs a lot of money. And the answer is it may well do, but it might not. It might only be a little shop at £100,000. And ultimately, what we're going to do with this strategy is we're going to be leveraging the banks and we're going to be leveraging our investors. So these types of property deals are not done by saving up your wages to then buy a commercial building. That's not how this works. The way this works is we find the deal, we get the permitted development so we can convert it, and then we bring in our investors. So we use other people's money to do these types of conversions. And there's two types of money that we need. The first is senior lending. This is our banks funding. The banks are out there and they have got a lot of money, but it's not the high street banks. It's not the ones on the high streets that have closed down. These are more kind of challenger banks, and banks specifically geared up to lend on these types of projects. They're the ones that are known as development finance lenders, and those are the banks that we use. The second type of money is our equity. This is our investor funds. So we'll go out there, we'll find our investors, we'll ask our investors to come in and joint venture with us or lend us the money to do these types of projects. So we find the building, we put the permitted development in, we get our funders from the banks and investors, and then we send our professional build team in to do a refurbishment project on these empty commercial buildings and then convert them into residential apartments. So you can sell them, you can rent them, you can maybe hand them off to other people for social housing. You can maybe hand them off to do for things like serviced accommodation. Ultimately, this strategy is about creating the assets and creating wealth. So we'll start with maybe a slightly smaller project, maybe a shop to maybe 3 or 5 flat conversions, and then we can learn all that system, and then we can put it in place on a slightly bigger deal, slightly bigger deal, slightly bigger deal. And it may well be that in 3 or 4 years' time, you are in a very, very different place to where you are now. Now, if you want to get started in this field, if you want to know how you can convert these empty commercial buildings into residential gold mines, then somewhere around this video, you'll find a link which will allow you to download a report which will help you get started on your journey. My name is Dan Eaton. It's been great talking to you, and I'll see you in the next video.